All right, here we go.
Welcome to the Dope and Tape Show. We have Dawn in Vancouver. She's currently a rep for Victaulic. She has quite a story, a big journey, and we're really looking forward to hearing about it and hearing about a woman's journey, which is actually kind of rare in this industry. So we know a couple of women fitters, not many though, and so we're really excited to get your view on it. Welcome
Encourage
to Dope and Tape.
to encourage more young women. Yes, welcome.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, I appreciate it. Like you say, there's not many women out there, so any exposure we can get, the better, right?
That's
Right.
right. And
Yeah,
then just make it where it's okay, where it's not like, oh, I can't do that job, but you can. I mean, it's
absolutely.
hard work. It's hard work, but you can do it.
Oh, totally. If you have if you like to be physical, if you like to be creative, if you like to take initiative, it's definitely a perfect role for anybody who has those attributes. Um, you wake up early, do your day, and then you're done, and you made good coin, right? You're not in debt for university that you're never going to use.
Yeah.
Some
Well
people.
Yeah.
said. That is well
What's
said.
the average debt? Wasn't it? Isn't it like $70,000 the average debt for
I want to say
college?
I want
You
to say
could
it's
just
it's a
go.
little higher than that. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I saw something recently too. It was around $70,000.
it's big bucks. You could just you could be making that like in your second or third year in the trades.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
In
absolutely.
this
With
market
no debt.
with no
I
debt.
I mean, like here in Atlanta, we go off a nice set. I've been preaching this since we started this show. Well, sidebar is don't wait for your company to send you to go get it. Because it's like max like 250, 300. But normally
Yeah.
tests are like 150. So what? You might have to pay 150 when people are going to college for $70,000
Take the
in
test.
debt. I just pay for it, do your own thing.
A
And
lot of
then
people
you're not
talking
That
about that
taxed
test,
either.
NICET.
we
Yeah.
were just chatting about this earlier. So here in Canada, we have you take like an interprovincial exam after you've done your apprenticeship. So for 4 years, you go to school for 6 weeks, and then you work the rest of that, and then you like work your way to your journeyman certificate. And then once you have that, it's nationwide, so you can use that ticket if you were to travel all over the country, it would be valid. But you guys have a different system there?
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
all in
for
shambles.
sure.
We talk about it all the time. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like you have, universal,
National.
state, countrywide.
Because you all
It's
follow NFPA, so you know what I mean? Like the rules aren't going to be that different from jurisdictions, right?
it's
Right.
really it's not. I don't know if everyone's following it. And I don't know if it's enforced like everywhere. It's like enforced in the big cities, but I feel like a lot of people are just kind of under the radar.
Yeah, for example, some do not require like licensing, but for inspections. So I don't remember now. I do not remember, but at the time, this was a long time ago when I was doing inspections. I did some inspections in Alabama, and it did
I
not.
worked in Alabama.
Yeah,
Brandon.
and it didn't require me to write a number, so I didn't even have to have anything attached to my name. I was an apprentice and I was signing tags. Like it didn't. We were signing tags just to sign tags,
Oh my
just because
goodness.
we're used to it in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But there was no tagging system at all.
Hmm.
They just got a report.
So you don't have like here we have what's called the ASTT, and it's you have to go and take their exam to qualify to do fire extinguisher, standpipe, fire alarm, whatever, and you get a special stamp that has like your name and the date that you got it, and you stamp it and sign it when you do your inspections. You don't
So
have that?
in Georgia, yes, we have that.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
But
what?
fire
And on
alarm,
your card, you only have like standpipe, or you only have fire alarm, or it has everything.
You have to get them
it's
all.
separated.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
you
they're all
gotta.
separate.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get all of them?
So
Well,
you can take the
you can
test
count.
as much as you want. Like you
Yeah,
can
you can
take
get
all the
as many
tests
as
one
you
day,
want.
but you have to have the time.
Yeah, so you can pass it and then say you qualify for your stamp, but then you still have to have somebody sign off on your work hours that you like apprenticed under that or whatever, however many hours it was.
Yeah,
But
so in
as long as you know how
Massachusetts,
to navigate a code book, you can pass those exams. It's not too hard.
once you get 8,000 working hours in the field, you can take your state exam, and once you have that journeyman Massachusetts license, you can do anything sprinkler.
Including inspections.
No, well, I think
Because
you would need to be like backflow certified, and
well, yeah, backflow is completely separate. But I mean, I really think it's a completely different code book. You know,
I want to say that yeah, my license covers it.
Well, because yeah, the to be a sprinkler systems installer, you follow the NFPA 13, and then to be an inspector, you do the NFPA 25, right?
Right.
That's the same
correct.
up
Yes.
there. Yeah.
But and on our exam, you learn about both of those.
Oh, okay. That makes sense then. Yeah.
So, but they still do divvy. Like a lot of guys don't do both. You kind of just once you start doing inspections, you kind of specialize in that.
Yeah, that happens here too. Like you can go and take your ASTT without being a fitter. So a lot of people just go that route and they just do inspections, and then they hire the the journeyman or the contractor to do the repairs or whatever.
Right. So let's hear about. So you started as an apprentice. How old were
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, so I got into the trade when I was 18 years old.
Oh,
Wow,
That
that's
was in
awesome.
2005, so I'm like a legit old timer now.
no, no, I'm right behind you. I'm 34.
It was funny that the other day I was talking to somebody and I was going to go help him troubleshoot a valve, and he's like, I've been installing these things for 18 years. And in my head, I'm like, oh shit, this guy's old. And then I was like, oh wait, I've been doing this for 18 years. Are you
Shit.
kidding me? Like, oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
but yeah, so my uncle was a road superintendent for a company. And it was around 2005 when we had like a huge tower construction boom when it first kind of started. So they were hiring anybody and everybody to do blaze master, right? Or CPVC pipe.
Right, right, right.
So he got my brother a job. And then I was like, well, why don't you get me a job? And he's like, well, I don't know, like, it's a tough job. And I was like, anything he can do, I can do. Like, give me a shot, right? So then he got me an interview with the construction manager for that company at that time, and I think he basically threw me a bone. But I was like, he quotes me to this day. He's like, you said you would never let me down, and you never did. And so they kind of got to start there with the blaze. So I started on that tower, and then I was fortunate enough to shadow a service guy, and he did a lot of like cool projects. So I got to like I was threading 2-inch pipe like on my first couple days, and just getting my hands wet with the steel pipe too. And then an opportunity came to go out of town to Alberta and do OSB plant. So we did the entire OSB plant. I fabbed every single piece of pipe in that plant. It was
What?
insane. It was like I
I
was there
love
for
that.
a year at least. I want to go there to this day and be like, oh, I did that, right? I'm gonna
Yeah,
sound like
you
another old
have to
timer, but
do
I
that.
did
You
it.
have to do that. And make like a
Yeah,
selfie
totally.
video. I did that.
Yeah, and it was like the greatest experience. Like I met some of the guys that are still like my good buddies to this day because we were all out of town working together, and it was a camp job, but it wasn't a dry camp, so we could still drink and we could still like have fun on our downtime, and we just like kind of built this like little community, and it was a lot of fun. I really really loved it. Um, and I got a lot of, so I fabbed all the pipe there, and to my foreman, I was like, okay, so when am I going to get to like install the pipe like off the boom lifts? Cause they were off like 120 boom lifts. And he's like, oh,
Jeez.
once you've fabbed every single piece of pipe you can, once you've caught up, then I'll let you hang pipe, because I just had stacks of like 2-inch lines with 2x1 mech tees drilled on them and the heads in and everything. I was just like waiting. So that day finally came, and once I got on that boom lift, it was like I'm not going anywhere. This is the best. It was such an adrenaline rush, hanging like 2-inch pipe in the Wilson joists and stuff. It was awesome. So then I did that for about a year, and then I came back to town. I got the opportunity to work at a couple in-town jobs, like the Olympic Village when we had the Olympics here in 2010. Shangri-La, which is like one of our large, at the time was the largest tower in Vancouver. It was like 64 stories high. And then I got to
Yeah.
go to a couple mines. Like I went to Yukon Zinc, which was a mine, Diavik Diamond mine. I got to work underground and do the truck shop underground, which was an
A
incredible
mine?
experience. Yeah,
How
underground pit mine.
how deep is that?
I think it was called the 5020 truck shop, whatever that means. Like I think it's in meters. It was like we
50.
had to take like a half-hour ride to get down to where we were working. It was nuts. It was really cool. The bathroom was disgusting. It was
That
awful.
What was there plumbing or did they pull it out?
No, it was like this like yellow shitter, but it was like steel and like people just peed in the darkness of the mine. Like so anybody who went in there went there to take a dump. So when I had to go, I was like, thanks. Like it was just like bad.
that
So
is that sounds
yeah.
awesome
Oh
being
my
down in the
jeez.
cave, but that doesn't
But
sound great.
how high were the ceiling, like the top of the
The
mine?
mine, it
Yeah, where you're
varied in
hanging pipe.
areas, but I would say it was probably about maybe like 15 feet, 20 feet.
And you were
The
doing
truck shop.
sprinklers?
No, so in the pit, when you go to get down to the mine, there's no sprinklers. There's just like emergency response stations and like hose valves. But once we got to the truck shop where we were working, that was where all the mechanics and stuff was going on. That's where we installed the sprinkler system.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and like all types of like mine processes and stuff like that was really cool. I worked in Alabama as a supervisor. It was really cool. Mobile, Alabama. No, Thomasville, Alabama, where I went. And that
Thomasville.
was fun. Everybody was cold. It was winter time. It was like 20 degrees, and everybody was like in insulated coveralls, and I'm just like in a t-shirt. I'm like, this is awesome.
Oh yeah, because up where you are, it's like extra cold, right?
Yeah, like, well, we don't think it's cold, but to you guys, I guess it was. So it was fun. And then came back to town, worked some more, and then worked at a mine locally. Well, I say locally, but it's like an hour and a half away. And that's where I met who's now my husband. Him and I actually met at that mine. We were friends for the longest time and then eventually ended up dating, and we've got 2 kids now. And yeah, so that, and then what happened? We moved here and I decided I wanted to get into sales. Um, so JCI, which was Simplex Grinnell at the time, they offered me a role as fire suppression sales representative, which is cool because I still got to dabble in the mining stuff. Like I got to sell all the suppression systems for the mining trucks. And then I sold a lot of clean agent stuff, like, you know, the Novec and the Energen, special suppression for like data rooms and stuff like that. So that was really cool. I did that for 6 years. And then an opportunity came with Victaulic and I jumped on it. I was like, this is the job I've always wanted. And yeah, I was fortunate enough that they hired me.
Good for you. Yeah, that is the dream job.
Jeez,
Yeah,
what
it
a
really is.
story, man.
That was a
Yeah.
great story. The
I mean, you were
mine.
so what did you do with your hair when you're up there hanging pipe? Did you braid it or did you just pull it back or
It was actually I would just do like a low bun, but it was funny because I made like a lot of good friends on the job site, and this one friend of mine, James, there's because it was always me. I was always the girl, and there'd be like maybe one electrician girl, and then the lift operator was the girl. So there was me, and the lift operator was like kind of squirrely, and I had my hair done like a certain way, like under my hard hat, and hers was like different. And then me and my buddy like went to the lift, and she's like complimented my hair, and then I were like, okay, cool, and we leave, and we come back, and then her hair is the exact same way that I had it. And he was like, did she just like copy your hair? I was like, she did.
She did.
But I
Yeah.
mean, men do that too. Like we'll walk around and we'll see someone like wearing their boots or something a certain way, and they're like, "That's cool," and then
Yeah, he
we do
looks
it.
cool.
Yeah.
I
But we
want to be
don't
cool.
do it on that job site. We'll do it on a different
Do it on
job
the
site
next
that
job
he's not
site.
on.
Call it your own, kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't want to run into that guy. He's like, that was mine.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that
like
you
I'm
would like
sure when
tuck the
people are
hair in the
working,
helmet.
Yeah, I didn't like that look because then I look like a dude. So I was like, I need them to know that I have hair.
That's true. That's
oh,
true.
Yeah. So, but never got my hair caught in anything, which is cool.
That's really good.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Means you were
Yeah.
safe. What's
So
up to the chat? Thanks for joining us. Hit the like button. Hit
I
the
had
subscribe
long
button.
hair for a while, and like wrestling and boxing and all that stuff. And sometimes I'd braid it into the back. That way it's out of my face. I'll get
Yeah.
someone like braid it.
Did
Yeah,
anybody ever pull it?
Oh, absolutely, all the time. I mean, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I want to see
Easy
braided
target.
hair. I want to see braided hair Brian.
I don't think I have a single picture.
Come on.
I wasn't big on pictures. Yeah,
Oh, we're finding one. Braided hair
even
Brian.
like the old like modeling stuff. Like I don't have any of that.
Dang.
That's
Nothing.
funny you bring that up because I was listening to one of your episodes and you were talking about the modeling, your modeling days.
Oh, in the episode, yeah,
Yeah,
they like to
and how
bring
now
it
you
up.
can't get paid enough to do it.
Don't get us going.
Oh, with that one? Oh, well,
Don't get us
yeah,
going.
yeah.
That's such a fun. That's so fun to talk about.
Yeah.
When we were in Vegas, that's just like, and Bobby just like kept jabbing me, with this
Shut,
stuff.
shut
Just
up with them. That's what I'm here for. Poke the bear, baby. Shout out from
yeah.
Arizona. Did you have to have MSHA train for the mine?
Is that material safety hazard something? I don't
Uh,
know. There was
uh,
mine training that I had to sit in for like 2 weeks in order to go
Materials
underground.
Safety Hazard Association. We have a few places that are considered mines. We all have to be trained accordingly through MSHA. Sounds it to be mine workers. How long was the course?
The orientation, because it was an orientation basically, and it was 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
It was long. You had to. There's so much safety crap that you have to learn, like because you have to wear these like breathing things. Like the deeper you go, it was just like you have to go to these stations if there's an emergency. There's like these like C cans basically that you everybody has to muster to, and there's like lockout takeout procedures. Like we would it was insane. Like to we would put our locks on because you had to use lockout takeout for everything for mining, just for even going underground. And you put your lock on, and I remember we had an apprentice, and he lost his key, and
Oh wow.
it was like the mine was melting down. Like it was panic. Everybody was like, he was fine, obviously, but it was like a big no no, and he had to leave site. They take it that seriously.
For losing his key?
Jeez.
What was?
His losing his lockout takeout key
Oh
or key, sorry. Yeah.
man.
So those
Hold on to
locks
that
are
thing.
really hard to pick too. Like
Yeah.
they're very difficult.
Yeah. I don't know why you would want to.
Well, I was just practicing, and then they said that that was hard of it. So it was like a little hobby for a little bit. I was like, I want to learn how to do this, and I got I got pretty good at the masters. They're super easy. Masters are junk, and then I got to electricians and government workers. They use, what is it? It's a giant brass one. It's a little harder,
Boom. Bandsaw
and
to
then
all.
yeah, and then the
Bandsaw opens
lockout
them
tag
all right
ones
up.
is they're hard. They're very
Yeah, they're a
difficult.
bit more like narrower and firm, I feel. They're all
Yeah,
the
and
color
then
coded ones.
Pick proof.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
Pick proof.
But with lock cutters, they're very easy. I mean, I can get them
Oh
out
yeah.
in there.
I think actually if you were to cut a lock at that mine, it was like a criminal offense.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
I would bet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't be picking locks or cutting them there.
Yeah. They
Many
took
So
years
I got
one
a
ago.
really cool story though is there was a one mine I was working at, and it was in the Yukon, and part of the agreement of the mine was that like people weren't allowed to like fish or like hunt on obviously the property that they were mining. But one of these guys came and he brought like he just had just a fish hook and a fishing line, and there was a like a little lake there that we could drive to and everyone would just hang out. It was like an old like testing site. And then so we would just like throw out the little hook with on the fishing line and like reel it in, and I caught a fish, which was really cool. It was the only fish that they caught, but like some of the fish that were like swimming by were like massive trout. It was crazy. It was so cool.
whoa.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful space too, and you had to take like all your bear aware training. Like you, it was those mine spaces too, for the above ground mining, just to be on site with all the like wildlife. You had to take. It was a couple days of orientation, just of like learning how to not get killed by a bear.
That
So
sounds
how
like
did
so
y'all
much
ever
fun.
see? I mean, y'all are up there with what, grizzlies, right?
Yeah, there's grizzlies and black bears and cougars and wolverines and all kinds of.
Lions and tigers and
Y'all ever
bears.
see anything?
Yeah.
I can just picture you with your hard hat and your safety stuff and your big coat and it's like snowing and you're going into a mine with your like channel locks like it's
Yeah.
nuts.
And then there's like a grizzly bear that just comes running out of the
Yeah,
woods.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's why
What
you carry your 18 with you.
what's the protocol for the
that's
bear? The
right.
18?
Yeah, everyone has to carry an aluminum 18. No, so certain bears you have to react certain ways. It depends on the scenario, right? Like if you scare a bear, if you like come on up to a bear, you're supposed to like act bigger and like kind of scare it more rather than let it like be reactive to you. I can't even remember. There are certain scenarios for everything. And
Oh
like black
man.
bears will basically, if they're hungry and angry, they'll just kill you. They don't care. Grizzlies will like maul you and play with you, but you like have a better chance of surviving, ironically, because they're the bigger, scarier ones. And
They'll
then
play
if
with you
you
like a cat.
stumble across a bear, like if you're both walking and you're just kind of like, oh, bump into each other, you're supposed to just be like, whoa, bear, and like kind of like slowly walk away and just like
My bad,
talk
bro.
calmly.
My
Yeah,
bad, bro.
My
do
bad.
your
Please. I'm
thing.
just trying to just going on my mind.
Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
did you ever run up on one or
No, I
you
never
just
saw a
seen them?
bear. No, there was a lot of people saw them though, for sure. They would just come and like because it's a camp, right? They were very strict about not leaving food outside and like because the bears would just come and get aggressive
That
and
is
start
so
mauling
cool.
garbage cans. Yeah. It was really cool. And in the Yukon, actually, when I was up there in the summer, so it was hot, it wasn't snowing, and it would stay light like all night. Like it would be 2 in the morning and it was like this out. Like it was crazy.
It's dark
Whoa.
outside where we are.
Right now?
Yeah.
Don't rub it in our face. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
it's
right
Yeah.
now.
it's
Is
9:30.
it
It
dark
is
already?
night.
I guess,
I hear
yeah.
the crickets.
Yeah.
It looks bright where you are.
Well, I just have like I have like a million lights on right now. So many lights on.
Your ring lights?
I do. It's not a ring light, but oh, it's a square light. It's doing the
I
purpose
got
of
a
a
little
ring light.
ring light. I
Oh,
got a
you,
little ring light.
you do?
Oh,
I
I
need
caught
it
it.
though.
Nice.
Just
So
just like a little one, you know?
right. Oh, I guess
Yeah.
I do have a ring light over there shining at the boots. So I guess yeah, we're right.
What kind of project would you say you're doing a project now, or you kind of um every day you just go meet people and you're like you go and let them know about Big Tolic and what you can do for them and prices and stuff like, or do you
Yeah.
have projects? Like, how does it kind of work?
Yeah, so basically I have like a list of contractors who are my contractors and they're people that I reach out to daily to see if I can help them find a solution for the contracts that they're working on. So a lot of them have a larger contracts and then I kind of piggyback on that and find out where we can offer a solution for them. So I work on any project that my contractor is working on, but I'm just the manufacturer supplier. So I have distribution. So I sell to distribution and then distribution will sell to my contractors.
Well, that's pretty cool.
So when you go to a job site that that you're supplying, what are you looking for? What are you trying to make sure is like good to go when you roll up there?
Well, like my whole thing is like I'm trying to sell you a better product so then I can offer you a better solution. So if I come to your
Hmm.
job site and I see you're using extra fittings where you don't need to, then that's where I would kind of say, "Hey, well, why don't you use this instead of that?" Right? Like some people don't they'll be using say something from our IGS line and they don't realize that we have a solution so they could limit their fittings, right? And they might just be using a couple extra 90s or T's or they didn't realize that we have an ad cap or something like that. So I just
Add a
want to check
cap.
up on it. Hmm?
I gotta stop you right there at the add a cap. I put a post on that on my Instagram of an inch and
It's
a quarter
somewhere.
of an
It's in the last
inch and a
100
quarter add a
posts.
cap. Shit, do I have one? Oh, it's in the box that Daryl sent me. I think I have a add it. Yeah, it's in one of the posts, and not a lot of people call it that.
Yeah, I should actually. It's the Victaulic term is end of line or end of run. But I always called them ad cap from being on the field. I'm not sure who branded that name, but that's just what stuck
That
with me.
that's exactly what stuck with me as well. So that's pretty
Kind of like
cool.
a street 90 or something, right?
Mm,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
groove by thread. That made me that's exciting because that like not a lot of people got that one, Bry.
Yeah. No.
What do they call it then?
They were just calling it like the groove by thread, or like they were just like describing it opposed to just having like that ATICAP term. That's what my father
Oh,
called it.
oh, okay.
That's what
That's
I've
all I
always.
know by.
Yep. You put that
Yeah,
elbow at the end of the line and you get yourself a 1 inch thread.
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, and then just I'm just trying to like look for solutions. Obviously, I'm in sales, so I want to try and sell things, but I want to sell things that make sense to my customer. I want them to respect, my opinion. So I'm not going to just try and sell you something for the hell of it, right? And you don't really get to see what they actually need unless you go to a job site. Like on paper, it's totally different. You guys know that.
Yeah, if you
Right.
you
It
could
is.
probably sell. Was it Dan that we were talking to at the at convention, and he was talking about the post indicating valve you guys have that
Oh yeah,
operates with
yeah.
the
I
butterfly.
saw that video actually.
So
Yeah, Daniel Wake.
that's got to be something that's wicked easy to sell. Like there's no way that someone would be able to tell you no if you were comparing it to the other way that we do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the only issue with that one is that we don't sell many of them. Like I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but we don't have that many applications. But like definitely the contractors that I've spoken to about it, they're like, "Oh, why would we do anything else? Like one guy can do the job of two. Sign me up."
Yeah,
And it ends up running or less than you would the other style, right?
so much
So,
easier. On the big build that we just did, the hospital, it's like 400,000 square feet. We used three of those.
okay, yeah.
Not
So
that style. We used the old school style with the big, long, heavy, square bar that you got to cut to size, and then the tampers that are hard to line up.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, those ones are rough.
I
I
would
remember
have.
working on a job site with that and I accidentally called the fire department on it. It was like a service job. And yeah, just because navigating those big, heavy, awkward valves with the switches is awful.
Yeah, so
So yeah, that's a beautiful product. I love it.
got to be easy to sell. But like you said, you don't use it much.
Yeah, so you use it at the hospital. I know like a requirement here for us, it's more on rooftops, the application. We don't more so have the wall. But yeah, I'm not sure like what's the requirement for you to have them?
So because they had one on the high roof, which would have been through the roof, and then we had one on the two lower roofs that came out through the wall. But
Oh, okay.
they weren't the new style Victaulic ones. They were like the old school ones. That's what I'm saying. It would have been
Yeah.
so much easier if we had that one that Dan was showing us at NFPA.
Yeah. Yeah, with that old OSNY valve and they just get all tight and sticky and
And I
yeah.
think the problem was we were hanging it on Den's glass, and it just had an aluminum stud behind it, and it's this big, heavy wheel.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then like the carpenters, like they didn't own putting blocking behind it, but we can't put the blocking because we're sprinkler fitters, and it's their work. It was a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
I could have just
Yeah.
had this light little handle.
Damn. Well, now we know for future, right? It's definitely locked in, right? You're not going to
Yes,
forget about that.
definitely not gonna forget about it.
Yeah.
Do you still do your hair the same way when you go
On
on the
job
job
sites?
sites? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah. It's just
trademark.
the easiest way. Just a low mom bun. But
Boom.
So what are your struggles? What were your struggles then as a woman and then now?
I was actually pretty fortunate to have like super supportive company. All the guys that I worked with like were completely awesome, but there was the odd older fitter that would be like, "Oh, she can't do that, she's not strong enough." But I just kind of used like I was just kind of like, "Screw you. I can do it and I'll show you. Like I'll do it right now." Like I'm lucky enough to have an attitude where it doesn't really bother me if people doubt me. It's almost like ammunition to do better. But I would say it was kind of struggle to like at first to get the guys to accept me that I'm one of the guys. Like it wasn't like now they know obviously and like we're legitimate friends. But in the beginning it was hard to kind of get people to just like loosen up around me and not think that I was going to take offense to everything and that I can just hang out and, chum with you, right? So
Right.
Right.
um but it didn't take long. Couple payday Fridays at the bar and we were good. It was
That's
all good.
awesome. That's good to hear. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. And any of the hardships that I did get from people, it was from people that weren't on my company. So and the people that were with my company had my back, so they would be like, "No, man, it's done. Don't worry about it. Like she's got it." And they
Yeah.
they
So it's
definitely
really the
support
people who
me.
didn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
encouraging for any of if there's any young ladies that are listening or could be listening in the future that would want to join a trade.
And you have to have that
You
personality to
can make
take
it.
that on too. You
Yeah,
know?
like I always try to like with my contractors, I'm like, hire some women. And they're like, we've tried hiring women and they don't always work out. And I'm like, how many men have you hired that didn't work out? Like
So many.
Oof.
hundreds,
How
So
right?
many men you
so
So
hired that
you
can't
think
pass the
about the
drug test?
ratios.
right. Oh,
There's
it's true.
so many idiots, male or female. So you got to like amp up your female tries and you'll get it, right? It'll stick. And quite a few of my contractors now have women on site and it just makes me so excited because I'm like there's so much opportunity. Like it doesn't stop at, not that it should or shouldn't, but it doesn't stop at sprinklers. Like you've gone into more like fire alarm inspections, and you can own your own business. You can be a project manager, you can be a coordinator, you can be a designer, you can be an estimator, you can be a sales representative. Like there's so much. And like having that field experience is like an asset, not only to know what you're doing and know the product and know how sprinkler systems work, but you build your confidence, right? Like you learn
Right.
to just like, be humbled, right? And it brings you back to reality, and then you're kind of ready to face anything, really.
We got a good percentage of females in the trades up here in well for you down here in Massachusetts, but every trade has, whether it's a carpenter chick or a electrician chick or a plumber chick, they're not a lot of them, but they're on the job. Every
Yeah.
trade has a couple on every job site. It's pretty cool. I want to see more.
No, you have to, right?
Well, yeah, you have to.
Well,
Yeah,
it's kind of like
move
how like
forward.
the police force or the fire department started hiring women, and women have a different outlook on things. We have a different perspective, and we're going to tackle situations differently, not always better, but sometimes. And it just kind of offers a different route to get to the end product, right? Like it's not always, you can do something one way, like say you're gonna be like hammering through a wall, right? And you like do like, I don't know how you guys did it, but back in the day, like a brick wall, you would just like do all your circles
Bunch of circles
and
and
smash
smash
it
Yeah.
it.
through. Yeah, and like, a woman might approach that differently. And who knows, maybe it's a way you would have never thought of, and you'd be like, whoa, that was 10 times faster. Like, why didn't I think of that? Or a woman would have just done the sleeve before the wall went up.
Right. Oh. I like I like that one. That's way more
Yeah.
efficient.
Exactly, ahead of the game. But yeah, so I think like, and like women, because we don't have that overall man strength right off the bat, we're a little bit intimidated, so we maybe double check things that we might be uncertain about, which could save you later on, right? Like I don't know how many times, oh my god, okay, I'll tell you a story. So when I was in the field, so I worked for two companies. I worked for one company for like 8 years, and then I went to another company because I wanted to run a service van. I wanted a service opportunity. And so I was used to my old crew. Everybody knew me and like was respectful and like knew that I knew what I was doing. And I went to the new company and none of these guys knew who I was. So my boss at the time was like, told this one guy, he's like, go, Dawn is doing work at this mall. Can you go and just like show her like where the zones are and like where everything kind of is, and just like give her a lay of the land? And he was like, I don't even remember his name, but he was so like, oh yeah, okay. And he's like, shows me, he's like, these malls are so complicated. You have to know what you're doing. This zone here, you think it feeds this one, but it actually goes here. And I was like, okay, cool, like whatever, just show me what's going on. So he drains the zone and he gets on a scissor lift and goes and pulls the head. And he didn't have a panic valve with him. And
Oh
it was
no.
like instant karma. I was just like, ah, love it, but also like kind of but like, I was like, yes, like, so I totally forgot about that. But yeah, that's an instance where a guy was a total a-hole and like, just wasn't very nice, and karma came his way, and water, he was vacuuming for the whole rest of the day. It was awesome.
Oh man, the
And it was
doubter.
kind of nice because I ran to my bucket buddy and got my panic valve, and I like threw it up to him, and he was trying to get the head back in. It was so funny.
That's what we do to doubters right there. Don't be doubting us.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's so cool.
Jeez. He'll never forget that day.
Yeah. Tough. The big tough
Yeah.
guy.
I don't know
Big.
where he is now. I might run into him in my new role.
Yeah, maybe. Sell him some
Uh-huh.
stuff. Sell him a slam valve.
Oh, you're still there doing your thing. Okay, that's so cute.
Panic
I
valve.
just, speaking of like the difference from men and women, so men are usually one directionally focused in our mind, and then women can naturally multitask. So I wonder how that plays a role in not just fitting pipe, but let's say you fit pipe and then you go into a management role, how you can just like click, 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 click on several different things.
Yeah. Yeah, I
When
don't
you're,
know. I wouldn't say I'm the best multitasker just because I don't really think multitasking is actually a thing. Like, I think when you have too many things going on at once, you're not really doing anything to the best of your ability. Um, if you think about multitasking, like how typically you would think about it, but like,
yeah, that
I
sounds like my life.
don't, yeah. Yeah, I'm very hyper focused. Like, if I have something that needs to get done, I have to do that. It's weighing on my mind until I get it done, and then I can dedicate my efforts to something else. But I can have multiple things going on. It's just, one thing usually takes priority. But I guess
Right.
qualifying, what is my priority, right? One guy might think it's putting in the main on the parkade level, and I might think it's doing the standpipe. So we have, our zones ready for the blaze floors or whatever, right? So, um, yeah, I don't know if it's a man or woman thing for that, but
It's
I
all in the
think it's just your,
process.
yeah, and like just opening the door to a whole half of the population, like I think it's important to go to schools and say, like, because for me, I didn't know what I wanted to be, and my friends all were like, I'm going to be a police officer, I'm going to be a ERT or whatever, I'm going to go to school for this. And I was like, well, A, I have no money, B, I don't really know what I want to do. I know I liked carpentry in school, so I was actually leaning towards a carpentry ticket. um, so then I just knew I wanted to do something with my hands. And then this opportunity came up, and I was like, I didn't even, like, the first time on a job site, I was like, I didn't even know like how buildings were built. Like, I never even thought about it, right? I'm
Right,
18 years
right.
old. Yeah, I was like, oh shoot, things go in the walls. Like, I
Yeah.
literally had no idea.
We talk
So
about this, and you can learn so much just about like common sense, life, a whole bunch of stuff just by like seeing all the other trades around you working.
yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm definitely not an electrician, but at least I know, like, how it goes down a little bit, right? And seeing how the plumbers work, and yeah, it's really eye opening to go to a construction site. And I think like we should be targeting middle schools and high schools just to get those kids out there on field trips and just to
That's
see
I
that it
agree
exists.
with that so much. We need to get
Man,
to the kids.
absolutely.
That's why I'm on
Mhm.
TikTok, but I still don't know how to use TikTok that well. I want to get like
Yeah,
I'm gonna go visit my high school that I went to and just talk to the kids if I can, if they'll let me in with my
Yeah.
mustache. Think they'll let me in
yeah.
the school with the mustache?
You
Probably
should
not.
actually reach out to like locally. There might be some sort of program where they do tour schools and do, like, you could bring your threading machine and some pipe and a couple cordless drills, and just to kind of like get kids hands on, right?
For
Just to
sure.
see
So for a
what
little
it's like.
bit, I worked. So I volunteered for a court order program here in Atlanta, um, for troubled youth with boxing. So I would help them when they get out of, let's say, jail as a youth, and I would work with them with boxing and mentor them and stuff like that. And I would talk to them about trades.
Yeah.
And because also with different charges and stuff, I mean, we're going to work at a trade, they're pretty forgiving, you know? It's like, can you hold a wrench? Can you come to work on time? Like, as long as you can do those things, you got a job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's good money too, once you learn it.
Hmm.
And I would talk to them about the trades, and it was really good. And I would go to so I wrestled, and I would go and talk to high school wrestling teams about fire protection and inspecting and stuff, and then I would talk to people. I get recognized sometimes through my Instagram in Atlanta,
Hmm.
um, but it's never gone anywhere. Like one guy, he's like, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to go into a trade. And he talked about welding and then plumbing and electricians. And I was like, bro, fire protection, man. He said,
Yeah.
what do I need to
Sprinklers.
do? Do
Just
I need
go
to go to school?
apply.
I was like, Yeah, I say no. Just call me, and I'll put you in there.
Just
I'll
go
walk you through your
apply.
whole career.
When
All
people
right,
ask me
because I'm not leaving.
how to get a job, I tell them whatever your hometown is or whatever the biggest city within an hour range of you, you take the name of that city and then you put fire protection after it or sprinkler. And there's probably a sprinkler company in that town near you, and then just go knock on the door and apply. Say, "Hey, I don't know anything. I want to work here."
They're begging for people. Like,
They
I don't know
really
about you guys,
are.
but here it's like every customer, you know anybody looking for work? I'm like, I wish, I wish.
Right, for
Yeah,
Yeah,
real. If we go
yeah.
back to the like the women not being strong enough, I think like back in the day some of the men weren't strong enough. When you were wrenching 8 inch and wrenching 6 inch, it's not like that anymore. Like I'm not like the biggest guy in the world. When I have a piece of 8 inch schedule 40, I'm not lifting that. I'm using a chain
No,
fall. Like a
no.
woman can do that just as easily as I can, a chain fall, and then you're not lifting any of that 300 and however many pound pipe that a piece of 8 inch weighs at 10.6.
Yeah, like for me, it was like I was like I can do whatever the boys can do, right? So if I brought myself to be able to manhandle a length of sked 10 4 inch, that was like as big as I went, and then a half length of 6 inch, and I was like, that's nobody ever did more than that. If you did, you were an idiot and you hurt your back. So it was just like I can do what they can do, and I can last a lot longer. And because I'm not that strong, I'm thinking a little bit smarter and using mechanical advantage.
That's it.
And it
That's
was
it.
nice being a girl because I'd be like, "Oh, can I borrow your forklift?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, they'll always let you borrow the forklift.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, I'm all about it. We need more people in general, male or female in the trades. Join like
Yeah, just
right at
chicks.
18. Like I started 18, he started 18, you started 18.
Yeah.
yeah.
When we're
Technically,
all
you
we're
know.
all relative, we're the same age, so it's like how come right now there no one's starting at 18? Where are all the eager 18-year-olds that are like, let's join a trade?
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know. That's a good question. That
I
seems
think
to be
they
what
want to
everybody
go.
talks about too.
Well, I don't believe that like social media, supports it either. They're all about entrepreneurship, at which I have a business as well, but
That's totally cool, but you gotta
but
like
they also, technology and learn how like nothing is talking about trades.
Yeah.
Like
they
it's
all want to be
almost looked down
influencers, but
on.
they have
Like,
nothing to
oh,
talk about.
you're in the trades? Oh, yeah. Like
Yeah, we're
it's
building
It's
almost
so
looked
America.
down,
crazy.
especially in the city. Like if a single guy goes out to a bar and he's like, "Oh, I'm in a trade," like girls are just, gonna look past it. I just
Look
don't believe
right
that
past it.
society's supporting it,
Really?
even
I
though,
don't know. Maybe because I'm in a trade, I'm like, that's sexy. Like, why
Yeah,
wouldn't a woman want a man that works? Like, what do you want him? No offense, but like
yeah,
trying to be famous on the internet, like striving for
yeah,
strangers' attention. Like, how
yeah.
about just like
I
do a
know
hard day's worth
it.
of work?
Hard, yeah.
It feels like
Or do
a
both.
completely different
Yeah.
world.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's I don't want it to be that way. Like I don't want to sound like an old person being like, "Oh, kids these days don't want to work or whatever." I'm hoping it's just the way of the world. But yeah, I saw a stat recently. It was like for every four people leaving the trade, there's only one coming in or something.
I watched that
Yeah,
same
so
video.
our industry, and I said this before, and I've heard it several times. It's old. Our
Mhm.
industry is really old, and
That
it's
video said 42 was the average age, and 20 years ago it was 32. And then there's like another video saying that the average age is actually like late 40s for construction average throughout. I think it was just United States, but that's why is that so old? Why is it in the upper 40s? Even if it was mid 40s for the average age of a construction person. So another 20 years, it's going to be 55 or 65. We don't have
It's
anybody to
just
replace
following
well,
us.
our age group.
well.
I
Here's
know it's
also
just
the
following us.
honest.
Yeah.
Here's also the honest truth too. With a lot of guys that are out in the field, a lot of them will not put in the effort to get better. So and with that, you get stuck.
It's true.
Yeah.
They're just showing up for a
Yeah.
paycheck. A lot of people.
My foreman, my first foreman, he's still out in the field. I mean, he has to be in his late 40s now,
Maybe
and he's
but
not going to go
also,
on.
if you're the type of person that you just want to go to work and you want to leave work at work and go home and do your 8 hours a day, awesome.
and collect
You
that
those are
pension and
really
that
excellent traits to
annuity, and
pursue. Yeah.
that's
If
it.
your personal life is more important to you, then absolutely do that. You
Oh,
can
for
do that,
sure.
right?
Oh, for sure. Like
Yeah.
there's that guy, but then when you're talking about worldwide, well, I don't know about worldwide, but as much as fire protection reaches, I mean the norm being late 40s, as in the average. I mean, I would say that guy who's like just I'm good to go, you know,
Yeah.
and then you got the guy who is just doesn't want to do more, just doesn't want to take tests, doesn't want to do this, or he says he will, but he never ends up
Just
doing it. And
open
I
the
just
book,
think
just
people get
brush up on the
stuck.
book. No one's doing that.
Mhm.
How many people, once they get their ticket or their red seal or their Georgia card or how
Yeah,
many are opening the book after that?
None.
They're not, none of them's
I'm
brushing
guilty.
up on it.
Yeah,
I'm
guilty as
guilty
charged. I would only
when
open
I
it if
get
I got
yeah
challenged on something. Then I'm like, oh, I better check
yeah
You
that.
show up
Yeah.
the
when
next
a
day with
friend
the
calls
answer.
me.
Yeah.
So when a friend calls me and asks me a question, I open the book and reference it, and I'm like, oh crap, Or if I'm going to meet a fire marshal and I need to talk about this subject or that subject, I read up on it as much as I can before meeting him, just so I'm ready. But other than that, like just sitting here on my break, because I'll set a timer while I'm working for like 30 minutes. I'll work. Timer goes off, I take a break. I'm not opening a book. Not right
No.
now. I mean, I'm thinking about going in for some more certifications just to have them. Um, but outside of that, now that I already have it, I have my
Ima-
state licenses,
Imagine Bobby sitting in the parking lot at the school. Hey kids, come in my van. I want to show you something. Might not play out well, dude.
Probably not.
How many years were you in the field before getting into the office? Would you say like 8?
10 years.
10 years in the
10
10
years.
field.
years is a long time, a freaking decade.
And
I
then
know.
and now
Yo, you're a
Victaulic. I love
stud.
Victaulic series,
Jeez.
UMC,
10
Universal
years.
Manifold Check Assembly. So quick, so easy to install.
Oh, the UMC? Is that what they're saying?
Yep, series UMC Universal Manifold Check Assembly, so easy and quick to install.
Yeah,
Florencio.
so that's essentially your zone control requirement. That's just like in one piece, one part. You just snap it onto the standpipe.
I had this thing on the wrong. I was missing all these comments. I was in the wrong little. Which bear is the best? No bear.
No bear.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow, work in the Yukon. That's wild. So did you stay in a camper?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like just like a room with a bed and a TV and not even a Bible. Blackout blinds. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow.
You're in there
So
to
I did a
rest.
military contract where I had the worst part about that was I had to switch hotels every week. But
Yeah.
I would say that sucked more than I mean the refrigerator never works because the refrigerator never works in a hotel room anyway. But you know, like I would
Yeah.
imagine going back to the was it winter when you did it? Like was there snow on the ground and like snowing and stuff?
No, it was summertime when I was there.
Okay.
And that particular mine, I wasn't even on the field. I took on like a coordinator role for one of the project managers. He was like the most hilarious man I've ever known. It was so fun working for him. So yeah, I had a pretty gravy gig there too. I just got to I basically booked everybody's flights and managed their hours and everything like that. It was okay.
Okay.
Don was and still is a rock star in the fire protection world.
No, yeah, that's
I
freaking
hope this
sick.
show draws
Yeah.
interest in the female work pool and any young person watching. Thank you, Shane.
Oh, that's Shano. It's my boss.
Shane. Oh, what's up, Shane?
Ah,
Thanks for tuning in.
what's up, Shane?
Brian, do you get to work out in Warner Robins Air Force Base?
Um,
Warner Robins Air Force Base.
I
Is that the
so
Atlanta?
so I went to go bid on some stuff out there, and as well as our big military contractor, like they build the F-22 Raptor and all that stuff. And I probably won't be doing anything more with them because I went out for a bid work, kind of like a bid walk, and there was three different guys there, but they keep rewarding the same company the the inspections and the services. So the people they've been out there for like 7 years, and they just got it again. So I will not be bidding on any work because I feel like at this point it's a
What if you
waste of
dressed up?
time.
What if you dressed up like real handsome and went out there?
Nah, bro, I killed it. I killed it. I killed it. Like I was there asking questions, and then so something I do for the people who do bid walks, um, I will ask a technical question that I know is difficult, and I know the answer to. And when you're standing around everybody, right, you ask a technical question to the person who's walking you, something he has no idea about, no idea, and then you turn to the guy who you're trying to walk against, right? And like, what do you think? And it's usually like, because he wasn't ready for it. And you just give him a second to just stand there. And then you start referencing codes. I was like, well, the reason why I asked this because I know that this code is this and this code is this. So I would imagine that this would be the outcome. Would you say that that's correct? After he stood there and then you hit him again. So like
I
I
love
know
it.
it's kind of kicking some dirt on his shoes, but bro, I'm in there to sell and to win. This
That's a
is
bold move. That's a bold move. See, I would be the opposite. I would
yeah.
ask an open-ended question that I know the guy giving me the walk knows the answer to, because then you're boosting his confidence. And he's like, "Oh, it's
Oh yeah,
that. I told you." And you're like, "Oh, okay." And then they're like,
yeah.
"I liked her. She was dumb.
This-
She didn't know what she was
the
talking about."
the two
That made me
different
feel good.
the two
Yeah.
different
So
sales
everybody,
tactics.
when you do a bid walk, everybody is fighting for control of the room. So
Yeah.
if
It's awkward, eh?
that person that you're angling that question to, is trying to control the room and he's just being too much, that brings him way down.
Quiets him
Way
up.
down. Yeah, it's like so George St. Pierre is like a UFC fighter, he's Canadian, right? So
He's
before the
Canadian, yeah.
fights, he would like one time he paid a guy to kiss his opponent on the forehead on this walkthrough in to
Ooh.
like get him off of his,
Yeah.
game. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. I've been
Yeah.
doing this for a while,
Who kissed the
and
guy?
it
I never
and the
heard about
guy's
that.
like, crap. So
Brian's
if you
giving us
do bid
game.
walks,
Kenko,
you're
what up?
welcome.
That's it.
Who's that?
Kenko Plumbing. He's one of the guys on Instagram.
Oh, I thought you said Mco. What up?
No, Kenko. Brian's giving us game.
Yeah,
Daryl says you
giving
gotta
us
go
lots of
in. You gotta
tips.
go in your underwear, Bry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Just
gonna say you should go in your little fighting modeling
Yeah.
shorts.
people will always remember how you made them feel. What up, Wayne? Chat's going now. Thanks for joining
Well, I
us.
mean, if they say something at the end, if they feel some kind of way, you can just tell them, I was just trying to give you an opportunity to talk. That's all. You know? I didn't know you weren't ready. I'm sorry.
My bad. Next time I'll give you
You
the
should just come
signal.
out front and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna ask a question. This is the answer," and then we're both
Right.
gonna look good.
Yeah.
Love it. This is
No, I'm
awesome.
I'm there to win. I'm there to win. But I'm a nice guy. I play fair.
I like promoting young people in construction, but also females in construction and how it's doable and how that there's many women out here that started young and they've been doing the damn thing. They're getting it done. And they're working their way up.
That's
It's
right.
you can do it. Let's do it. Everybody, we got to try
I
to
mean, you did it for 10 years,
yeah.
I mean, you're
Starting at
living proof.
18. Starting at 18.
You can it can be done.
It's like it sounds so cheesy, but the opportunities are honestly endless. If you have like a go get 'em personality, if you want to take on the world, if you want to travel, if you want to try new things, like there's so much opportunity in any trade, but obviously I favor sprinklers. But yeah, like if it's just hard to get it across to people that it's attainable, right? To young people.
Right.
Here's something also that's interesting, especially I can speak directly to fire sprinkler. So let's say you're in the field, right? You go into the office, it doesn't work out. You go back in the field and no one looks at you any differently. You go into the office, that role doesn't work out, you can switch to another role, and you can keep switching in different roles in fire protection, and no one views you in any negative light. But you cannot do that in any other industry. I would say you can only do that in trades,
Yeah.
and I think that's really cool. Because
There's
like
Yeah,
I
it's so
went,
cool. There's so many people that have left the trade and they've come back, and everyone's like, happy to see ya. Like, it's like, it's such a supportive community, and like, personal growth and people wanting the best for each other. And you truly do make some of your like lifelong friends.
so supportive.
absolutely. So I was in the field, went into the office. The laws changed in Georgia, so I had to get back in the truck. So they came and asked me, he's like, "Hey, I need you. Can we get back in the truck?" And I got back in the truck. I mean, it's not a big deal either, you know. And I knew I can go back into the role I wanted to go into and transition into anytime I wanted.
Yeah. And it's kind of like when you go from the field to the office, you get a whole new work experience and a new perspective.
Oh
And
yeah,
if you do go back to the field, it only makes you a better fitter. Like, and like, this is one thing that like people, because I went on maternity leave with both my kids, so I was out of, because I was in my sales role at that time with my previous company. People are like, "Oh, do you think that like set you back?" And I'm like, being a mom like made me a better worker. Like I can keep two kids alive. I can like, do so many things like motherhood had brought out in me and my level of confidence that I have transferred into my work life. It's like you can't get that anywhere else. So any switch, any change, anytime you're going to move and feel uncomfortable, you're going to grow. There's just That's just the way nature works.
Well said. Power to you. I love that. That is so great. What
who do we have? Let's see. Tomorrow we have Chad.
do you got? Not
So
not tomorrow.
right, isn't it Chad? No,
Yeah.
Thursday.
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 Thursday. Isn't
No, we
that
got
Chad?
Josh. We have
Josh.
Josh on
Chad's
Thursday.
next
We got
week.
Chad on the 18th, next Tuesday.
Right.
Right? Yeah, and then we
Right.
got Red Line on the 20th. We got Drew Slocum from the Fire Protection Podcast coming on the 25th.
That's
I
cool.
think that the 27th is open. Then we got Sean from NFPA on the 1st. Josh is with AFSA.
You guys got
Yeah,
a
I
steady
sent
lineup.
some.
We're
Yeah, I
working
sent
on it.
some.
Anybody else wants to come on? It's free to come on.
We're trying. All
Recommend
you
a
have to do is
guest.
just tell us that you want to come on.
Tell us you want to come
Yeah,
on.
it's that
Anybody can come
easy.
on. Fitters, sales reps, apprentices, engineers, the design, fab guys. What do you got? Does Victaulic have a valve trailer like reliable, a mobile learning lab?
So we have a few actually. We have training centers like here in Vancouver at our branch. We have all our dry valves set up. We have all our devices, we have the fire pack set up. That's like a running system. So like we invite our contractors, our engineers to come out there and mess around with the valves. Anybody with any questions, we come in and we troubleshoot together. We don't necessarily have like a mobile trailer locally here, but maybe in the States they do. But oftentimes our branches will have like a valve station set up, which is nice.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, there's probably a couple in the States.
Yeah, yeah. I think they use the union school a lot for training there. I can't remember where it was, but I've heard it mentioned a couple times. Um, but yeah, mostly like as far as reps here, like when there's an issue, we like to physically come to site and get hands on with you guys and troubleshoot together and work it through.
That's incredible, and that speaks
He
volumes for customer service.
says he's not coming
That
to
you
Vancouver because there's Cougars, Bears,
awesome.
and Wolverines.
No, that was the Yukon.
I see the older generation with very bad self-esteem and full of fear. I feel that's seldom talked about, and which is why I think why it's hard to get people into the trades. It's a good perspective.
Did
That's a
they
good
say older
perspective.
or younger
He
generation?
said
The
older.
younger generation
Oh.
No, he said older
coming out of
generation.
high school,
Very bad
college.
self-esteem. Let's see. The opportunities are endless right now because of the employment shortage. We are lucky enough to be able to have opportunity to do some roles and move up. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of young guys that are able to move up into vans, move up into foreman positions. All you gotta really do is probably ask your boss, like say, hey, I'm ready to run work, and bam, you could probably be a foreman like that next week.
Yeah, totally. Like it doesn't it sounds bad, but it's not, but it's like people that are meeting the bare minimum requirements are like moving on up because there's just no choice, right?
Just
Like
showing up.
totally, you just gotta show up, right? And try.
It's
That's
crazy that
it.
it's that easy, but people, people still won't. They still won't. What do I got to do? What do I got to do? You literally just got to like, if you have a car that can drive like an hour, and you got like an OSHA 10, and you just go and just show up and say, show me what to do
And consistently go in every day and try
every
to learn
day,
something.
every day. Even when you feel tired, gotta get
Yeah,
vertical.
yeah.
This has
Try to
been
learn
great. This
something.
has been a great talk.
It was awesome. Thank you so much
That
for
was
coming
really
on.
good, you guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Shane says
You're
mountains,
incredible
water,
and
and amazing
huge,
golf with a few
like
resident bears.
super motivating.
Yeah, very incredible.
Especially the women, like fitting pipe as a decade and then going to where you are now. Like I've never heard of anything like that in our industry, and you're very motivating.
Inspiration.
Yeah. Thank you. I
Definitely.
appreciate that. But it's also just luck sometimes too, right? But you luck's on your side if you try.
That's it.
You keep working hard enough, luck is gonna find you.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, this has been great. I enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you so
having me, you
much.
guys.
And everybody that's in the chat, thanks for being here. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribe if you haven't. And
Subscribe to Spotify as well as YouTube. That way you can and then get the notification. That way you can see when we drop the new episodes.
on to
Just in
Spotify.
case
That's
you
right. Yep.
it really makes it a lot easier to track it.
That's a good
Yeah, I
plug
was
right
telling
there,
Bobby
Bry.
earlier, I have you guys on, I follow you on Apple Podcast. So how soon does that come out after this?
So
I believe
typically,
it's all loaded at the same time.
no. So my process is that, like, to get it onto that platform, I have to download it from YouTube once it's done. And once the live ends, there's some kind of like timer where I can't download it for like, usually, like right now I'm probably gonna go to bed after this. So if I were to download it, it would be in the morning, and then it's like work time. So typically, like after work tomorrow, I would upload it.
Okay. Yeah, no pressure. I was just curious, like, because I'm a little bit behind on listening to you guys just because I do it through Apple Podcasts.
Oh yeah, and
Okay,
that one's probably a couple behind. As I say,
Yeah.
if you can't watch us live, listen while you drive.
Yeah.
that's right.
It's a
And
good
feel
slogan.
free to take video clips and use the videos and audio however you wish.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was great talking.